Hey Jason,
Hey Mo, how you doing up there down there?
good. How are you? Did
Peachy.
you did you hear my flub in the beginning there?
No, it sounded beautiful.
Did it? Okay. I definitely had my fingers in the wrong place for
That's
part of
all
that.
good.
So
It's all
all right.
good.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. The weather got a
Good.
little bit chillier up here, and but the sun's been shining. Had a little snow
Very
this
good.
morning.
Snow. Oh no, we're gonna hit 70 today, friends. This is the Weird Turn Pro. I'm Mo Strummel in Nashville, Tennessee.
And I'm Jason Winfield in Lamont, PA.
Very good. We've got some music coming your way. We failed on the guests today, so it's going to be Jason and myself today playing some music for you and talking about some different things. Um, we do have a guest lined up for next week. His name is Patrick O'Connor. Um, I think you're going to enjoy him. A couple of years ago, he was the Tennessee Songwriter Association Artist of the Year. I think you're really going to like him. Um, I met him a few years back in actually in Memphis, and uh, we've been bumping into each other ever since at different songwriter events. And I think you're really going to like his music. You can take a look at. He's online. Once again, it's Patrick O'Connor, and I think he's going to have a guest with him. We're going to make sure there's social distancing, but we're going to try to get some of his music in front of you, and we'll talk to him about his music. Today, we have a little bit of a different. We're going to do a little bit of a different take. In our test episode, we kind of played some songs just to make sure all this was working. Last week we had Rosemarie Radvasky with us. You can still see the episode from last week online, and that'll be up there as long as YouTube leaves it up there. Um, and I think you should go check it out if you can. It's really kind of cool. Rose played 6 songs for us and talked about some of her work, and it was a lot of fun. Um, we also, I think, we talked a little. Uh, we each played. Did we play a song last week too?
Yeah, we played it. We both played a song last week.
Okay. So, and then Rose turned the tables and did a little interview with us, sort of. So it was kind of fun, and hopefully we'll continue that sort of scenario again next week with Patrick. Um, I think this week what we decided that we're going to do is we're going to talk a little about influences. I've challenged Jason here at the last minute to see if he can remember part of the first song he ever wrote. At least part of it, and maybe give us a taste of it. And I'm going to try and play the first song that I ever wrote. And I'm sure we're going to forget words or something in the middle because some of these are. Mine was from when I was 14 years old, so I'm pretty sure I may or may not remember all the words, but there's a bumpy spot in it for sure for me. What about you? When did you write your first song?
Well, as far as I was around 20, I think. I'd been in bands and created some lyrics to kind of fit in with what the other guys were doing, but never really actually kind of composed anything. So, um, yeah, the first song was, and it was a joke. I mean, the whole thing was a joke. It was a joke to make the song, but it was fun in the process, and more about that later.
well, well, no. Let's get started with it. Why don't we start with the first songs we ever wrote, and
First song we ever wrote.
let's see
Yeah,
what you can remember
yeah,
of it. Yeah.
yeah. The first song I ever wrote. I had kind of started playing guitar at that point. Um, so I came up with I had this little thing I played because it was what I could play and it sounded pretty cool. Rock on a marble mantle, and all I want to do is make it mine. I don't remember the words, but I think it sounds something like. That's about as far as it goes. I mean, I had a group of people singing it because I was 20 years old. I was in college. We were having a conversation, and one of the people who was at the party started talking about a dream she had, and it was all about. At that point, It was like the early days of America's Funniest Home Videos,
Right.
and there was a whole episode. There was one of that year's winners was a picture of it was a dog. It was like a pug dog that was pushing a rock, and had this green grass, this little blonde dog, and it was pushing this pebble like a creek stone through the grass, and then it'll get on the other side and push it back and push it back. And this person had a dream about it, and I was like, oh, I was kind of thinking this thing about a rock. And so it turned into a ditty that we would sing at parties. And, at a certain point, it all went away.
I think for a future episode, you should find these words, and we should hear this song.
Okay.
Because I think that's the challenge now. So
okay.
And this could, as we have,
this could become, yeah.
Come on, maybe we should remind them that this may come up. And
the first song.
They should familiarize themselves with that, I think. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Speaking of which, before I get to my first song, I just want to remind anybody who's watching that might want to be a guest and come on and play some of their songs for us. This is how you do it right here. If you want to be a guest on the Weird Turn Pro, if you're a singer-songwriter, send us an email at weird@treetunes.com. Send us links to your music, your phone number. If we like what we hear, we'll give you a call. We'll set up a date. Most of the guests are going to be able to play up to about 6 songs. So if that's something that interests you, we would certainly like to hear from you and have you come on with us. We do this at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central every Thursday. And we're really looking forward to having some guests on and hearing some new music that maybe hasn't even been released yet, and things that our audience might want to hear. So our audience is very receptive to new music and hearing what singer-songwriters have to say. So I'm going to go ahead and
let's hear what you got.
All right. So the story behind this one is I'm 14 years old.
That could go in so many different ways.
Yeah, I know. My grandmother gives us a book that belonged to my grandfather that was written in 1867, so right after the Civil War. And what it was newspaper clippings or stories that had all been collected into a book from during the Civil War.
Okay.
So there were a bunch of stories in there to read, and I read this story, and it was about a really young man who went off to war or whatever, and it just sort of gave me the story. So this is called The Ballad of Johnny and Sarah Lee. So it's pretty basic because remember, I'm 14 years old.
Hey.
First song, right? So
let's hear it. Oh.
Yeah. That's Jason's.
Yeah, there you go.
Johnny knew his duty in the war. Made him hate the Yankees even more. Knew he didn't fully understand. He knew that he was fighting for his land. So when the war broke out, he went. Left his family for a tent. Left a girl as pretty as the sea, by the name of Sarah Lee. Sarah Lee knew full well Johnny was about to enter hell. She just kissed him goodbye. Goodbye. Johnny and the army headed north for a little town called Gettysburg. There was a rumor they were gonna die. They arrived safe and sound. 3 days later, most were on the ground. Johnny looked out over the land, and he thought of Sarah Lee's hand. Johnny dropped his gun and he headed on home. But he never really was alone. He was thinking about a girl back home by the name of Sarah Lee. By the name of Sarah Lee. By the name of Sarah Lee.
That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Good job, 14-year-old Mo.
14-year-old Mo. Let's see. So 14, 58, 14, what, 72?
Yeah.
So that was my anti-war song too, by the way. Just so
Oh, okay.
that was disguised as a love song, I guess you could say.
So here's the question.
Yep.
I realize you have offspring by the name of Sarah. Did this all come from the same place?
And I always liked that name, so it's always in my mind and always there. Sarah was definitely a favorite name, and Joan liked it too, so that one was easy. The second one was a little harder, yeah. So, but we ended up with a Thomas.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I really
Second
didn't want
one.
to give my name to anybody else because, Maurice is a cool name to have when you get to college and a little bit past that. But up until that point, it just gets you beat up, just so you know. So
I can gather that.
yeah. So tell me, when you write right now, who were your influences earlier, and who are your influences now?
Oh wow, that's yeah. And there's some stuff in here. I'm probably going to start a song after I talk about it.
Okay.
I was raised probably a mile away from the Illinois Central rail line that ran through, and every morning the city of New Orleans stopped on its way south, and every evening it came back through overnight. So Steve Goodman was pretty big. Arlo Guthrie was pretty big because he made the Steve Goodman song really big.
Right.
I'm a little bit younger than you, so all of the folkies were really big as I was just beginning to understand what music was. So of course John Prine was in that group of Illinois songwriters that kind of came out of that. I had a sister who was a guitar player, so she was playing what she was playing. So she had a flute player friend who would come over, and they would work on all the Dan Fogelberg, Tim Weisberg stuff. So that was a big influence in what I was going through. John Denver was huge, right as I became acknowledging of what was on the radio. It was very funny because my father never played an instrument, but he always loved listening to music and the lyrics in music. And he had friends in his business who worked across town, and he had a gentleman working for him. And there were 3 Japanese guys who worked in the industry, and they all played guitar. So they would come over to our house a couple of times and line up on bar stools with my sister, and then they would all play the popular music of whatever was going on at that particular period of time. So it was always a lot of fun. It was just this like, it was its own guitar pull in a cover fashion, but we had one guy played a 12 string. My sister was more finger style. One guy was a strummer. So it all kind of blended together in a really cool way. And it was formidable in how I look at music and storytelling. As I grew older and passed through that period of time, I guess, as I left Illinois, I was listening to more Dan Fogelberg and the stories that he was telling and the melody of what he was doing, which is reminiscent and produced by Joe Walsh initially. So you have the Eagles automatically falling into that as well. And then I walked away from everything for a while. I played in a pop / punk band in college. And I kind of let everything go and moved down to Florida and listened to Cuban music for a while. And when I hear the vocal patterns and flow of voices in Spanish, it's a different thing for me. It's not something I can do. I don't speak it. I can't replicate it, but I love listening to it. So it's an influence that comes in. And then we came back up to Pennsylvania and time became a little bit more accessible. So I started listening to more things. And that's when I found Jason Isbell in the middle of the night while going through songs that were being addressed to me by Starbucks of all things. They had, at that point, they were doing the free song a week or month or whatever it was. And it was one of the ones that came through. So, and that one stuck. There was something about his process as he was going through his detoxification that really, he captured something that was going on in my life. And I really felt something about that. Really hit me there. And then and through that, I heard the Turnpike Troubadours, and their voice speaks to the plains that I grew up in. When I hear them play, I see the cornfields, I see the flatland, I see it wasn't red dirt where I grew up. It was black. It smelled like potting soil when it rained because it was unbelievably fertile grounds. But they speak and play to that part of my life, that trucker hat with DeKalb corn across the front of it. Those were my people. That's where I come from. Right. And they really touch that part of the soul and the restlessness, but the obligation that goes with the plains and your duty and all of those aspects. So that's kind of where I've ended up now. So it's, I don't know that I write that way, but
you are a heart on the sleeve kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's apparent, I'm sure whatever you're going to play right now, I'm sure people will get it. So so now you've said all that. What are you going to play for us?
Oh, crap. I will play a sweet song because I was already playing Pushing a Rock, and I don't know how sweet that song actually was when it was.
I don't mind sweet songs. They're okay.
I've been playing with the key a little bit, so hopefully I'm in the right zone. Used to think I knew my way around this town. I could stop at any neighborhood, dive around, play to friends or two, play some cutthroat pool, or a run of a table, or a brew. Now I'm asking strangers on the street for the way to places we have planned to meet. I'm so worried about what I might say. I hope I don't embarrass myself today. 'Cause you make time matter. I wish I had some more with you. My life is all in tatters. So in love, I don't know what to do. Now I find myself awake at dawn every day, looking forward to what you have to say. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I only wish that you were here with me. 'Cause you make time matter. I wish I had some more with you. My life is all in tatters. So in love, I don't know what to do. Ooh. Yeah, you make time matter. I wish I had more with you. My life is all in tatters. So in love, I don't know what to do. Used to think I knew my way around this town. I could stop at any neighborhood I around.
Nice, nice, nice,
Thank you.
nice. I really like
you.
that song. When you first sent that song to me a while back, my very first thought was Simon and Garfunkel.
I remember that.
It was like and in a good way, right? And in fact, instead of saying Simon and Garfunkel, I might go back and say Tom and Jerry. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like
Chad and Jeremy.
or Chad and Jerry. Yeah. it's like very I mean, I like that song. I think it's a very upbeat song. I mean, it's got a little bittersweet in it, but it's still tone wise, it made me feel pretty bouncy. So we've got a couple people that we know are watching. Lisa, we're only doing covers on here, Lisa, because
Not doing
even though people think they can cover a song and put it on YouTube or put it on Facebook, the reality is it could get taken down at any moment, which means they would just take down our whole video possibly, or anything. There are ways to license stuff, and when we have guests on, they actually do license us to use their music when they come on. So it's we can't just play covers left and right, or without a prior licensing agreement. Sync licenses are a little weird, and it means we would have to contact everybody directly and negotiate and do all that. And we don't want to steal music from people without making sure they're getting something out of it. Our guests are getting the exposure and getting to come on and play their songs and talk to us too, hopefully a nationwide, exposure. Yeah. So that's sort of what they agree to. So we can't do Under the Boardwalk right now, but maybe we'll find some islandy songs for you in here.
There you go.
Also, shout out to Rose who's watching. You all. Hopefully, she told me to turn my mic up, so I did a little bit. I hope it's not too loud now. But Rose is out there from last week. She joined us, and we're probably going to have her back at some point. So if she's watching, and I think
enjoy the coffee, Rose.
And an old friend, Eric Hendrickson, has made a couple comments, so we just want to give a shout out there. I think there are a couple of my former hockey players watching too. So if you guys are out there, we'll see you on the ice. What's red, green? What's red, green? Just keep your stick on the ice, right? So all that good stuff. Let me put this up one more time since we talked about it here.
Yep.
So this is how you get to come on and be a guest. It's pretty simple. You just send us an email to weird@treetunes.com. We'll listen to your music, send us links and your phone number so we can get back and talk to you. And then we'll try to find a date when we can bring you on that works for everybody. We do this every Thursday at 6 Eastern, 5 Central. And we just want to make sure that, you guys are are watching, you guys are hearing, and you guys are on here getting to play if you want to. Okay. It's a very simple setup for us. We literally send you a link and you follow the link on your device. And like Jason is, there you are. You just show up. It's really cool. So, and right now we are actually simulcasting on YouTube and Facebook. So on Facebook, my page, Mo Strummel. On YouTube, it's also Mo Strummel. There's a really long link. I'm going to get a tiny URL for that shortly, but and hopefully, if this works out well, they'll give us a vanity link. So that last song that I did, the first song I ever wrote,
Right.
I don't know if you could tell, but I was listening to a lot of Bob Dylan at the time. So there's no bridge in there. There's no, it's a very folky song. There's
Yeah,
not
it's a story.
lot
It's a
of,
ballad.
yeah, it's a story ballad. And obviously, Bob was one of my very first influences. I listened to him all the time when I was in my teens. I also cleaned a theater after school every day, a movie theater. And so I would blast the radio in there during the
Right.
day. And I always listened to WIOQ out of Philadelphia, which I believe at least the one DJ is actually on one of the Sirius XM channels.
Oh, cool.
She's been around for a long time, and she's really good. And that channel got me through a lot of cleaning in that theater because I used to blast it over the theater system. And obviously at that time they were playing a lot of, you said, I think one of the big songs during that time was Jimmy Buffett was all over it.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
Come Monday and Please Come to
Yeah.
Boston. And you mentioned somebody that I listened to. Oh, John Denver was on there all the
Oh,
time
yeah.
also. So
You couldn't touch a radio in 1970 anything without
it
having
was
John Denver on there
ridiculous. Yeah.
until
So-
disco hit.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of. Yeah. So, so there's a lot of that came in, and when I was little, growing up, my mom was only 20 years older than me, so she listened to a lot of Beatles. Were played in the
Yeah.
house all the time. The Beatles were around when they came in, when they showed up on the scene. But before that, it was a lot of there was a lot of country in my house. Loretta Lynn, Tammy Wynette, a lot of female singers that my mother really listened a lot to. Leslie Gore was on there. She's a little
Yeah.
more in the pop range, but all that played into sort of my sensibility. And then, of course, when you try to rebel a little bit, and be your own thing, it's a little bit, you try to find that space that your parents aren't in necessarily. So, they weren't really big Dylan fans or, they would have listened to it, I'm sure, but not that kind of thing necessarily. And my mom was definitely the Beatles and not the Stones. She was that girl.
Right.
So, anyway, there's a lot of things that influenced me. And most of my songs come out of something that happened, although recently I've been writing a lot of songs that are sort of real fiction-based things that I'm stuck in the house, so there's not a lot going on, So you gotta write
And they've already written a song called Four Walls, right?
Yeah. You got to make stuff up at this point because you're not out bumping into people who are giving you songs. But there was I spent a month. Well, I spent a year. I always say I spent a year 1 month in Morgantown, West Virginia. There was a bar I used to hang out at there, and I thought I'd do. We used to play this song together with.
Yep.
If You Come Around.
Yep.
So I thought I'd do this song. It was about that bar and kind of hanging out at this bar called the Nickel, which really wasn't the name of the bar, and I can't remember the name. The Nickel, I think, was the price of beer. So, or maybe it was 7 beers for a nickel. That might have been the price. But so this is called "If You Come Around." Who'd ever thought of finding an angel in here? Smoky glass smell of stale beer. Yet there you stand with a smile on your face. How the hell did I find this place? Things ain't always what they seem. Tonight you'll fill up all my dreams, and if you come around, I'll lay you down. I left you hanging out there again, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, but you know, I got my help.
You said I could have anything I see. Well, I have visions, baby, of you and me. I know that's not what you meant to say. So pour me another, and I'll be okay. Love has a way of easing the pain. Love has a way of making us insane. And if you come around, I'll lay you down. Get my troubles away, one glass at a time. I'm losing my mind. Come over here and fill my glass. I promise you it'll be my last. If you come around, I'll lay you down.
Nice. I love the guitar lick on that. It's just got a nice little roll to it.
A little
Yeah.
bounce.
Yeah. The bounce is good. The bounce is good.
Bounce is good. I'm into bounce. Absolutely. Yeah. So that one, I think I put on a release a few years back. So it's out there with some other frou-frou in it and stuff. Everybody wants to. So you can get some of this on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get music. So some of
Yeah.
it's out there, including some stuff that I did with Naomi Baker, some old, really old public domain kind of songs that we did for a show, and they're out there too. You should go give them a listen if you want on my Spotify site.
Yeah, that's good stuff to listen to. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. So what was the inspiration of your evenings at the Nickel that gave you this song?
Well, there was a bartender there who was, she was like in a magazine or something. She used to show me the magazine she was in and everything. I mean, it was like a Vogue or something like that. I don't
Right.
know what it was. So I don't know why she was working in the bar if she was doing that. You'd think you would get enough money to not have to work in the bar, but it was a weird bar, and they had. I learned to play some card game in there for money with these guys. It was this weird card game with money and little chips that you pass. And the beer was really cheap, and there were about 4 pool tables in there. And in West Virginia, they have those rooms where you can go in and actually, it's like gambling in there of some sort. It's like machines. So I hung out there when I was doing a show. I was doing a season there. The West Virginia University does a professional season in the summer, just like we kind of did at Penn State years ago.
Right.
I think you guys combined that all together now.
So-
I worked there one summer for them, and they did big shows. They did just like we used to do at Penn State, the huge
Right.
shows over the summer. and so I spent a month there. It must have been more than a month, I guess, because we did 5 shows maybe. I
Right.
think that was like the 18th time I did Pump Boys and Dinette, which I love the show, so it was
Right.
okay. But it feels like I did that show more than any other show I did. So
We all have those. We all have
Yeah.
those. In the theater world, everything kind of cycles back.
it does.
Well, that's cool.
It does.
That's
Um,
very cool.
so what else? What else you gonna play for us? And tell us a little bit about it.
Well, okay. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how this one goes.
All right.
Because I'm playing with the rhythm on this. Some of the stuff, I've got titles change, things change, song changes as it processes through you, and this is in the midst of that kind of a process. I've recorded this song in a couple of different ways, and it's really not catching what I want it to catch yet, and I might fumble through it as I go through this time because I'm kind of trying to do a little something different with it.
Okay.
When I lived in Florida the last time, because I've been there a lot, I knew some folks, and they embodied what Florida must have been. I guess it would be 60 years now, because that's about the time they would have graduated from high school and gone through their lives. And some at certain points they would come up with these phrases. Like, I was walking through one day, and I walk my dog every morning and every evening past their house. And the husband was retired, and he was around all the time. And he at one point was like, sultry day out there today, ain't it? And I'm like, that's a good way to put it, I suppose, but that's not how I would have thought about it. But I started looking around a little bit at the space a little differently at that point. And this kind of came out of a little bit of that conversation with him, and just the history and the space. So the salty, sultry air just hangs around us as it around the empty space. The live oak by the porch is slowly melting with the gentle dripping tears of Spanish moss. I hope you can see just what I'm feeling. The distance is not so great between us, as a second porch swing carries us inside. Reach across this chasm, the burning flame of game, it holds me down. I hope that you hear the words that I'm not saying. My pain, it seems, is never over. Heating blisters on and on and on and on. Our time, it moves each day a little slower. The mysteries of a broken heart remain untouched. We started with the smoke that led to fire. Now we live in the smoke and never feed the flame. We burn so hot with passion and desire. Our love's burning eyes, they slowly close. I fear that we will learn no other way. My pain, it seems,
is never over. The heated blisters on and on and on and on. My time it moves, each day a little slower. The mysteries of a broken heart remain untouched. My pain, it seems, is never over. The heated blisters on and on and on and on. Our time, it moves, each day a little slower. The pieces of a broken heart remain untouched. The salty, sultry air just hangs around us.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just changing things up a little bit.
Still, yeah, that's a little bit different than you did. So when you write and then you rewrite, how do you rewrite every song that you write, or?
Oh, I play with everything. I mean, yeah, everything gets a little bit of tweaking. Ocracoke, which I played last week. I shelved that thing.
I detect a different rhythm to that song for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking for more of the tide and getting a more of a beach feel out of it than what it had initially. I was going eerie, and I don't think it works that way. I think it needs to clip a little bit more.
Okay.
And I changed some lyrics because there was some spaces in there where there was repetition. I lost rhythm with my lyrics on this one, so they kind of. But when I initially wrote this song, it was there was an extra part of the end of the chorus. It had a different name. It was all about hands when I initially wrote it.
Oh,
and
right.
So it had a really and it became a very serious. I mean, it's heartfelt, and there's a lot of serious disconnect in it. And the untouched means more lyrically now with the aspect of everybody being removed,
Right,
but together, and something's missing, so they're not touching, even though they're right next to each other. Before it lended itself to, instead of being a distant song, of more of an abusive song, and it felt very harsh as I listened to it. So.
Well, I think the lyrics have zeroed in more with the rewrites. I think it is zeroed in more.
Yeah. I'm able to shuffle through it, and this is all, it's been a long time since I've done any of this. So as I work with it, this song I wrote it 2.5 years ago. So playing with it and not feeling good enough about it to open up and really explore what it was. And then dealing with, as time has passed, the gentleman that inspires the first line of the song is now no longer with us. So that's, there's elements of the people that have walked through your lives that you're now carrying in these songs.
Right. Cool.
So what do you have?
Well, first of all, let me just give a couple. I'm going to do the Dallas Wayne thing here and give a couple shout outs to some people. I think I have a couple cousins watching, so. It looks like Rick and Dawn might be on here. So hi guys, thanks for tuning in. It looks like Ben Gasper may be checking in with us on Facebook.
Holy crap, Ben!
Yeah, I know. I know. I thought he had
Cheers.
dropped off the face of the earth, but he's apparently around. One of Joan's cousins, Marilyn, has checked in. Paul Newby has checked in.
Hey,
so
Paul.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Really amazing.
Oh yeah,
amazing musician. So we're a little intimidated that he's watching. Andy Becky from down here in Nashville, who I think was working on a project. I'm not sure where his project is. He should let us know where it is, and we should have him on to play some songs for us, because I know he was working on a project down here. And apparently I see a student of mine, former student of mine, has checked in. Rachel's on there, and Sarah. That's my daughter. She says I have to shout out to her. So if I don't do that, she's in Portland. She can't do anything to me, but I'll hear about it, right? So, so we're doing that. I do have a song for you, and this was inspired by another friend that we both know, Travis. Travis DeCastro inspired this song for us. So if he's watching, he'll know. Well, for me anyway. We were on his deck one day, and he said, "Do you want a margarita?" And I said, "I don't." He goes, "No, I make like a margarita. It's called a cheater margarita." And I said, "Well, what the hell is that?" And he said, "Well," so he goes in and he gets a can of frozen, I think it was either lemon lime or lime concentrate, and he throws that in the pitcher. He throws a bottle of beer in the pitcher on top of that, and then he fills the rest of it up with tequila.
Ooh.
And that's what he calls a cheater margarita.
Okay,
think
so
that's
now
the
I know
recipe.
more about this song than I knew before.
Right. He can correct the recipe if he's listening. He can go on and put it online so everybody can have it. But it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. And I think there must have been a lot of tequila in there because I think it was not only pretty good, it was pretty strong. So this song is called Cheater Margarita. And Lisa, this is about as close to the beach as we're going to get, I think, for a little while. So. All year long, I sit and think about sitting right where I am, watching the days roll in, and then I watch them slide away again. Sitting on this porch swing, strumming that old six string, just like Mr. Buffett says. I got 2 weeks left with nothing on my list. Got a cheater margarita on a floaty in the pool. There's a pitcher on the table. Yeah, I'm breaking every rule. I put in 50 good long weeks. Man, I'm ready to play. Got a cheater margarita. I'm on vacation today. I worked all year to put my feet in the sand, warming up my toes. Pitcher sitting next to me on ice, 30 SPF, guarding my nose. Well, I put my work behind me. I feel like I've been set free. I got some time to contemplate. I got 1 week left before I go back and sweat. I got a cheater margarita, floaty in the pool. There's a pitcher on the table. Yeah, I'm breaking every rule. I put in 50 good long weeks. Man, ready to play. Got a cheater margarita. I'm on vacation today. Boss man's called me every name in the book, but that don't matter to me. Right now, I'm soaking up the sun in the land of the sand and sea. I got a cheater margarita on a floaty in the pool. There's a pitcher on the table. Yeah, I'm breaking every rule. I put in 50 good long weeks. Man, I'm ready to play. Got a cheater margarita. I'm on vacation today. I got a cheater margarita. I'm on vacation to stay.
Nice.
So next
You know,
week,
it'll be
Joan will be
good if you, like,
producing.
put your-
so,
you
so
put-
get
yeah.
you up there.
You need to get your contacts put up there on the screen.
I know.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at Mo over here.
There we go. I'm sorry. I keep leaving you hanging there. We just need
That's
some.
all good.
We need some help. Joan's working on learning the system here, so she's going to be my producer eventually. I hope. And
Sweet. Joan, the
so
producer.
she'll get that credit. She'll have it on her resume.
That's
She'll be
right.
able to, yeah, she'll be able to have a whole new career. So
Sweet.
that's-
Sweet. She'll be like Gelman.
Exactly. One more time for this. Let's put up our
There we go.
our
Yeah.
contacts for if you are a singer-songwriter and you want to come on and be our guest. Rose was our guest last week. She's I think she's hanging in there watching us right now. But this is how you do it. All you have to do is send an email to us at weird@treetunes.com. Send us links to your music, your phone number so we can get in touch with you. We'll go listen to your music and hopefully we'll give you a call. We'll try to set up a date. There is some paperwork and some things we have to do on our way up, like to get things ready for the show that week. But it's pretty simple. It really is easy to connect with us. It's literally following a link. You remember Todd King?
Yeah, I know Todd King. He's
Yeah, it looks
watching.
like Todd King might be on here, and one of my Hans Lindberg, who lives in Nashville now, was a former player of ours.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have more cousins popping in too. Cousin Sharon and Gary Jovanovic, who's also a former player. So we've got
Excellent.
we've got a wide ranging audience today, which is kind of cool. And so everybody that's watching us, hi, we love that you're here, and thanks for coming in. We got a little bit more time left, Jason. So I'm thinking maybe you could do us another song.
Let's see if I got
Got
something
one in
that's
your
gonna
pocket there?
one that's gonna fit this time frame. They're all a little long. I just wanted to make sure.
We've got time. Trust
Yeah.
me. Unless you wrote Inagata Davida again, we're good. I think.
No. I do want to thank my wife and my kids for putting up with me doing this right in the middle of dinner time. It is a little rough. It can be a little bit rougher than you might imagine, because having a 9-year-old boy in the house, there is not enough food in the world.
Right.
There's never enough food in the world for that 9-year-old boy to eat. It is unbelievable. And if Ben is still around, we need to see pictures of the baby, man. Nobody's seen that.
Oh, good point.
But since Todd's here, maybe still around. As I remember, he's from North Carolina. So
It was midnight by a bonfire on the Carolina coast, drinking dark rum from a bottle and toasting Black Bear's ghost. Not long after sunrise on. Did you say farewell to the man of the hour before we started our voyage home? Been a good week with a few friends, trying to drink the Jolly Roger dry. Had a nice night by the seaside, won't be back for quite a while. So somewhere after last call, we stumbled to the point of a teacher's hole. Needed to say farewell to the man of the hour before we started our voyage home. And the water turned to white foam before it crashed into the shore. And a legend was born when the pirate died just off this beach, you know. Some say his spirit roams this stretch when the moon is right. But David Jones released a ghost on an Ocracoke moonlight. From the darkness he appeared, walking along the strand. He called out, I said howdy, raised a bottle in my right hand. I said I thank you kindly, don't mind if I oblige. Can't find a cure to what ails you on the other side. He said his name was Eddie, he could teach us many tales. How his eyes lit up when he talked about the plunders. Stayed for quite a while, drained my bottle, then he sighed. Said I gotta move on before the sun starts rising. And the water turned to white foam as it crashed into the shore. And a legend was born when the pirate died just off this beach, you know. Some say his spirit roams this stretch when the moon is right. But David Jones gave up a ghost on an Ocracoke moonlight. It was midnight by a bonfire on the Carolina coast, drinking dark rum from a bottle and toasting black beans ghost.
We recorded a version of that.
Yeah.
And it actually they played it on the radio over in Harrisburg that one day, remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
On Red's show, right?
So we're going to have to revisit that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a nice
work,
feel
yeah.
now, I think.
Yeah.
If I can remember the words, because I suck at that.
Jack Favo just said that this would have been perfect to open the expo.
New product
this year.
showcase with Mo and Jason.
Actually, a USITT, this year. So that's interesting. So hi, Jack. How you doing?
Hey, Jack.
Good to see you guys. So we've got a little bit of time left. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching. We're hearing from a lot of people that I haven't heard from in a while, and it's kind of cool that you're jumping on and watching, and we hope you'll come back. Next week, as I said earlier, in case you didn't hear, we have Patrick O'Connor is going to be on the show with us, and I'm really looking forward to this because he's a really fantastic songwriter. He's a really good singer. I think he may be bringing someone on with him to help out. We're going to make sure they're socially distant, so that
you're right there.
And everything, yeah. We'll figure that out during the week coming up. That's why we kind of have a plan going in. But once again, if you are a singer-songwriter and you're paying attention, don't hesitate to get in touch with us at weird@treetunes.com. And we can be on the show. Yeah, you can be on the show. We'll be on the show for sure, but you can be on the show if you want.
It would be great.
I want to thank my wife also, who's running back and forth with notes for me as we do this. Every time I go off camera with you, I get a list of notes, so I know what's going on. She's my spotter right now. She'd be like the equivalent of a spotter, I guess.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the end of the show here. I just want to remind everyone that you got to stay safe. Don't go out unless you have to. Right. Almost everybody's delivering stuff now, so it's a different world for me because I don't usually do a lot of delivery things, but. You can get almost anything delivered. Almost everybody in the country, even alcohol stores and stuff are considered essential. So,
yeah, well, they closed the state stores here in Pennsylvania, but there is a whole there. It looks like they're going to release some of the restrictions that they've always had here because the demand is growing so much with everybody being home together. So this might be the.
I thought I'd leave on an up note, so something hopeful, if that's okay with you, Jason.
That is awesome. I think that would be great.
I'm gonna play the song I wrote for my daughter when she was born, just because we've got some new viewers and stuff. I know we played this a couple weeks ago, but I feel this is a hopeful song. It was hopeful for me when I wrote it, and hopefully it'll help you out. So this is called As You Grow. Egyptian kings in fancy rings going to the zoo. Bubble gum, the setting sun, boxing kangaroo. Lullabies, coyote cries, diamonds in the rough. Nightingales and dusty trays swimming in the puff. Wondrous as they sing, these things you'll come to know. You find them on the way as you grow. As you grow, as you grow, hot air balloons and macaroons, a swan out on the lake, tambourine, a submarine, cookies that you bake, flying fish, make a wish, church bells in the morn, an apple tree, a bumblebee, a piece of candy corn. I will promise this, time will surely show as you grow, as you grow. All these things and more will wash up on the shore of love's eternal glow as you grow. Red rose and rainbows, cotillions on the lawn, sailboats and castle moats, a rooster's crow at dawn, seagulls and baseballs, long walks in the park, red guitars, the planet Mars, kisses in the dark, wondrous as they seem, these things you'll come to know, you find them on the way as you grow. As you grow, as you grow,
Excellent. Love that song. Love
Yeah.
that song.
So my son just said it feels like we're down at the brewery. So if anyone from the brewery is watching, howdy. That's about it for us for tonight. I do want to say thanks again. Make sure you share this with everyone. If you can help us spread the word. Remember, every Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 Central. Next week is Patrick O'Connor. And we have some more folks that we're talking to right now and trying to line up some dates with. And hopefully we'll get some of those folks on because there are some really great songwriters out there that we would like to have on the show.
Oh, yeah.
You've probably never heard of, and we want to try and help them with that. So from Nashville, this is Mo Strummel with Jason Winfield up in Lamont, PA.
Yeah.
And just remember, as Hunter S. Thompson said, when the going gets weird.
The Weird Turn Pro.
Thanks, folks.
Have a great week.